My today's guest is a software specialist with over 30 years of experience in FinTech and the CRM and supply chain space. I've come to know him as a true bundle of energy, someone who brings visions to life at lightning speed. Great to have you here. Hello, Szilard.
Thank you very much.
Szilard, can you start by telling us a bit about WEEV and its vision in the fashion and footwear industry?
Our original vision was to combine the designer with the supplier and supporting the brands in their process to create products faster and also more efficient. Today, we are actually also covering a lot of the issues around sustainability and traceability and more compliance and legal issues which are given by in particular by the European community.
In 2024, US billionaire Marc Benioff invested substantially in WEEV and is also engaged as advisor, as I understood. 1 year in retrospect, how did Marc's investment impact the development of WEEV?
It changed the complete vision for us. And as you said...
Even the vision?
Even the vision.
Okay, tell us more.
We have today possibilities which we never thought we will have. And what was really interesting that he even helped us to get clients, which is shows his character as an authentic person. It's not just about telling me what to do. He was actively supporting us in the sales process with clients to help to bring over our vision.
So really hands-on in this case.
Couldn't wish more.
Okay, great. A few weeks ago, we've announced a partnership with Salesforce. Not very surprising, to be honest. Salesforce is a data-driven and AI-powered CRM tool. What are the key strategic goals that WEEV and Salesforce aim to achieve with this partnership?
We are in a position that we really are focused on the industry. Salesforce is very focused across industry. But due to the fact that there are lots of compliance, legal and ESG required informations today needed for the market to be able to remain in the market, and there's much more coming, in particular from the European community, we have basically such a perfect complementary situation that clients who like Salesforce, but they say there are things they need, but Salesforce says, well, this is very industry specific. For us, these kind of informations are crucial to bring our value to a different level, because with this, we are able to get the client's needs completely fulfilled. And now, basically, we have a complementary situation where we work together. And as you know, 1 + 1 = 3.
Nicely put. WEEV is now enabling AI-driven material and supply sourcing. Of course you do. And can you elaborate on how AI is transforming the sourcing process and the advantages it offers?
Well, first of all, the major problem of the footwear and fashion industry is that very few companies are very digitalized. Most of the companies, in particular the smaller ones, are still, it's a handwork, real tough business, and they did this for 40 years. So for AI, AI can generate a lot of informations based on assumptions. Clearly, there's a risk that some assumptions are wrong. But when you are in a process that you need to know how many children worked or potentially worked on this shoe or on that cloth, and you know that they are producing, for example, in Thailand or Vietnam, and you know which are the major companies who are under investigation because they used it, you have a chance with AI to fill these gaps and probability calculations. Should I buy this product or should I not buy this product?
Okay, I see. One of the major benefits that this seamless integration across system using Salesforce MuleSoft and Agentforce is a specific advantage, I'd say. Can you briefly explain the difference between an AI agent like Agentforce MuleSoft and an AI chatbot?
Well, for me, an AI chatbot is an enhanced customer support solution. But the main part, what we actually are doing is we are replacing human beings, which means I'm in the process to set up my company on our system. I'm talking with somebody and I don't realize that person is not real. So it's not just about giving the right answers in a text form instead of calling somebody. It's like getting advice, getting support, or even I need some particular informations because I have this material and I don't know if this material is used anywhere in the world by the competition or whatever. So a lot of the informations are not even available in the internet. And MuleSoft is one of the most important investments of Salesforce because it's connecting the complete B2B stakeholder network globally. So you can also get access to informations which you cannot find on the internet.
Okay.
And that's very, very important to us. However, MuleSoft is an important piece, but since we are state-of-the-art technology, we are also connected directly through the APIs into the systems of Salesforce. And with this, we have actually full access on any information within what Salesforce can give us, within the B2B network, where we normally wouldn't have any access, and the internet. And to elaborate all these informations in very complex questions, the AI agent can do that.
As I understood, like the AI chatbot is more where you generate data, it's more like a sourcing, and the AI agent is actually some like a person, let's say,
Yes.
who executes complex operations. Is that true?
Yeah. Well, in the past, our AI chatbox was more something like search analytics, where you basically look at your history, what you did to figure out your behavior and your particular requirements.
In retrospect.
In
more.
retrospect.
Yeah.
And here we talk about the future and we talk about a person's opinion who is actually not real.
Okay, somehow also scary, to be honest.
Yes, very scary, very scary.
But let's see how this will work out. Let's go back to the fashion industry a little bit. The fashion industry is notoriously fast-paced. Supply and demand constantly shifting with the trends that are ongoing. However, there is also a growing demand for more sustainable operations and options as well, and reduction in waste. How will this partnership between Salesforce and WEEV help brands to streamline their operations to save time, resources, and also cost?
One of the most important pieces is that in the future, you will, like, I make a different example. You use today a lot of apps, and actually sometimes you only need one information of each app. Sometimes you need an app for an event and you don't go to that event anymore. And you always need to re-enter your whole profile and all your informations. And what we saw in IT is that we are more and more having web services portals where you choose from every system what you really need. And it's informing you when you need it, in particular also when you change a location, because when you go to vacation or a business trip, you require different informations. And there's too much information available. And I just really want the information that is important for me now in this moment. And this is so key for speed. So if you are in a business like fashion, which is one of the fastest businesses, in the same time less digitalized than most other industries, you have no time to elaborate informations. You need them exactly the way as you want it, and the system needs to know what I need. And this is basically the answer what we are getting with Salesforce together.
Understand. Can you elaborate a little bit more about the sustainable part or sustainability, especially like ESG compliance is becoming more and more critical? How will WEEV's collaboration with Salesforce contribute to a more sustainable future in fashion?
I think this is a very good question because, as you know, for us, traceability was key to understand on what land which cow is dying for my shoe. And I thought this is really ridiculous to get this kind of information for the consumer. The consumer is now asking, well, I want a CO2 emission statement. How much did I waste or brought waste to our environment by buying this shoe? So it's not stopping. It's going on. And this is a huge process. And because we are in a very fast industry, we will have these kind of consumer requests faster answer than we ever expected. So it really gives us a huge push to move, because if you don't move, you will not be able to keep the pace. And I don't see the end of it, because the consumer has the right to know everything what he wants. And if he doesn't like the product because of any of his personal requirements, he don't want to buy it. And that's why it will be crucial for any business. But in the fashion industry, this is already a big topic because of waste. But now it's getting really, the peak of the iceberg seems to be endless.
Let's talk also about regional differences. I heard that the European market is particularly strict when it comes to ESG compliance.
Yes.
Is that true? Can you elaborate a little bit about that?
Well, since we are in a market where we have a lot of global brands located in the US, at the same time, still a lot of the design and everything is in Europe. And despite having most of the production still in Asia, but moving towards Mexico, it doesn't matter where you are. If one country, well, you want to sell your shoes in Europe at the end of the day. So the Americans will certainly take some more time to be sustainable. However, the Californians are ahead of everybody. So in Asia, we have completely different rules. But no matter what kind of a brand you have, do you want to produce this shoe particularly according to the requirements of the highest bar you need to set or on the lowest? And it's clear. So Europe, even though they have the strongest compliance rules coming, everybody needs to follow, because if you do it for one country, you won't save much money by not doing it to the other country.
Yeah. And also like the supply chain is very global, so you cannot exclude like one region. Almost not possible.
No.
Okay, understood. Let's go back to AI a little bit, because I know you're really into that topic, and let's talk about the AI revolution and also the regional impact it has. I mean, AI, everyone talks about it, is a game changer in various industries. How do you see AI evolve in the fashion space?
Well, I'm into AI not because I like it, because I'm frightened. So that it's a different trigger. And I will try to make you an example outside the fashion industry to understand the impact. We have today around 20% globally iPhones. But we think everybody has an iPhone. However, Nokia used to have more than 50%. Back in the day.
Yeah.
So Apple is still nowhere. So who's buying what kind of phone? And how can they compete with Apple, which is even a status in Asia? And now with the new tariffs, will be almost as expensive like a car. I'm joking. So alone, Apple has around 3 million people in China. They invest $55 billion a year to educate these people. This is about the double of, if you would take all the money that the Americans spent for the Second World War and put it up to the valuation of today, Apple spends about double as much money as the US spent for the whole Second World War. So where is this money going? It goes to China, to 3 million people there. Will they use that knowledge and that technology they are building for Apple only for Apple? Obviously not. So everybody forgets, you can build these tariffs, you can do whatever you want. 55% of all mobile phones globally are Chinese production. So Apple basically is financing China to be the leader in mobile phones. And this is happening with a hardware product. So this is happening also for other industries everywhere. And in the fashion industry, coming back to your question, 95% of all production is in China. So how do you want to keep the knowledge, but at the same time you want the cheapest production? So you can do tariffs, you can do whatever you want.
It's not helping.
It's not helping. Software, however, is a little bit different. Of course, software can be also copied, but software has different values. It's not just about a product. It's about the collaboration. It's about the stakeholders. And the interesting things, when we look, there are 4 software companies in the world, which are all in the US. They own the market because they own the people. So one thing which is going outside the country border and is giving a chance to balance out these power games is software.
Yeah.
That's why I love what I do, because I can at least try to do something in the interest of all consumers globally.
Understood. So you answered the question almost a little bit, like what role will WEEV play in shaping that future?
I think we will be the standard for the market. And originally it was only the idea or the vision to combine the supplier with the brand and the designer. And now we are getting more and more stakeholders into this play. Blockchain, however, you need some central database to be sure that nobody is influencing the data. So for all the tokenization, for all the patents, somebody needs to own that data. At the moment, most of the countries have their own quantum computers to protect the data of the state and the people. But here we are protecting the data of the product globally. And that's basically our role, which we will have. We will be a standard to balance out all these products and protect them between the different stakeholders.
Understood. Let's go back to the level. How easy is it for fashion brands and suppliers to integrate with WEEV systems and Salesforce platform? So very basic now.
For the corporate customers, the big ones, most of them have Salesforce or they use another CRM supply chain solution, which means we are an add-on and we are covering the industry-specific problems and we are at the beginning of the creation process. So when you go down the supply chain, the further you go, the less you can influence the data. So if you want to have some particular data at the end of the supply chain, you need to make sure that you initiate it at the beginning.
The route is...
This is for the corporate clients. We are an add-on for their industry-specific requirements, as we said, for compliance, legal issues, for ESG-related topics, which is great because Salesforce has no interest to do that. And because for them, they sell to so many industries, they need to look that they have a solution that fits to every industry. And we can cover all these industry-specific requirements. Smaller clients, they are not even in a transformation. They are starting...
In implementation, actually.
Exactly. So for them is to start with WEEV and having an opportunity to look at other elements across the supply chain and being connected through us to the whole supply chain market is an opportunity which they can use as they want.
So getting quick access to like the whole supply chain for a small player.
Yeah. And coming back, what does that mean for AI? Well, I might be interested in this ERP solution, but only in this particular module because I only do orders for whatever. Do I want to have another system to access it? No. If I can have access through WEEV to very particular, as I said, web services or modules from others, I have one system, I don't have to take care of anything, and I get exactly the information I want.
I know that it's just some weeks ago that you announced this partnership between Salesforce and WEEV, but can you share already some examples or case studies where the partnership has been implemented and made an impact already?
Yes.
Yeah.
Our complete distribution channel changed. We go jointly to customers, in particular to the global customers. So my goal was this year to focus on shoes and maybe to put an emphasis on clothes and accessories on a slow base, and maybe in 2 years start another industry. We have now already a client coming to us from the coffee industry and saying, can you solve this? And Salesforce solved their problem from a cross-industry perspective within the company in a different division. But they also work with Excel and phone. They are comparing Excels. So very low AI. So for us, the speed we are going into is incredible. And this is a big part of the revolution of AI, which I'm happy to give you further information later. But it's incredible what is happening in the moment for us.
Okay, I see. So that's very funny. Like the first case study or the first implementation you mentioned is coffee or out of the coffee industry.
It will be two, one in the fashion industry and one in coffee. And it will be in the same time.
Okay, understood. Very interesting. So way to go. We are coming to the end from our interview, but I would like to ask you a closing question. Is there anything else you'd like to share about WEEV and what to expect? I don't say the coming years, but the coming months because of the speed you're working at.
Yeah. There's a nice, how would I say, a nice, I said at the beginning that this is really frightening what is happening. What does that mean? Well, we are going into a situation where we lose control about what is happening. And AI is very fast in learning by themselves. So you start with a child and you can tell him you need to learn Chinese or English. But he's learning so fast that you cannot even keep up. And what we see at the moment in AI is a huge revolution where there will be winners and losers. And we don't know who it will be. What we know is that the few winners will win at such a big multiplier to the other ones that it will have a huge shift in terms for our society.
And in terms of power, I guess.
Of course. And we don't know if we want our society to go into this direction, and we won't be able maybe to change it if once it starts. So there will be good and bad losers and winners. I believe we belong to the good ones because we only try to build transparency for the end consumer. So it's not about power or control, it's about information for the person who finally buys the product. And we will have a huge increase and a huge possibility to do something good based on what the consumer really wants. And I think we will have a couple of news coming there, which I don't even know yet. But as I told you, I don't control the process.
You don't control the
No,
process.
the consumer does.
I add one last question regarding WEEV. In the next months, same size, bigger, where are you going?
We can save at least 100 to 150 people. We are setting up 2 to 5 clients a month. Mm-hmm. It will be 200 to 300 clients next year, or maybe even this year. Who knows?
Okay. I look forward to talking to you again and find out whether this vision came to happen. Thank you so much, Szilard.
Thank you.
We are